We've been eating so poorly, an unbalanced diet, no nutrition, no consideration for our nutrition needs, nothing. We have been fed nothing. As a team LH, I am suffering, and I cannot wait for this suffering to end. We have 5 more races, and I am so done. People talk about heartbreak, like I understand, like heartbreak is, but I don't think they've experienced Lewis Hamilton driving in Mercedes in 2024.
Through goes Hamilton! You can hear the cheers from Monza!
The mics are on and off we go.
Hi guys, my name is Viri and welcome to the Wheelspin Podcast, the home of Formula One content and everything motorsport. Long time, no YouTube video or no podcast episode, but we're back. I hope you've been keeping up with us on our social media pages. We've been having a blast. I have so many things to recount. It's been an exciting last quarter of the year. I have so many things I hope I'll just get into them later on in the episode. So welcome to our United States Grand Prix race debrief. This is how we're gonna take this episode. One, we're gonna just start with it was a race weekend that doubled up as a sprint weekend. So that means we had like a whole separate event, which is a sprint format, and then the race on Saturday, Sunday, with the qualifying and the race. So this is how we're gonna do this episode. So first, I'm gonna tell you about what stood out for me, either in sprint, and then we're gonna go to the race activities, including the qualifying that sets the grid for Sunday. So one, very much, I'm here to report that I had a grand time. I know the last time we did like the last time on the pod, I said I had a very big surprise for like fans, and I was gonna take you along for something exciting. I was in Johannesburg at the beginning of this month, October, for the Red Bull show run, which was a good show. I think Red Bull outdid themselves. We got to see the RB7, which is a 2011 Red Bull racing car, driven around the streets of Sandton by the legendary David Coulthard. That was really, really, really fun. And I don't know, that was my first time seeing an F1 car on track, and it did things to me, guys. It did things to me. Deep down inside, I am different. I am changed. I am no longer the same. And I'm really hoping, if you've never seen a car on track, that is something I wish upon everybody. I mean, and that was an older car, like, it was everything, guys. And I cannot wait to actually come back and report that up. Guys, I went to my first Grand Prix. I cannot wait for that. Like, the Red Bull show run in Joburg was literally everything. And I have another video that will come out just encapsulating like what happened, what I thought of it, and like my whole experience in Johannesburg for the Red Bull show run. So shout out to Red Bull Kenya for organizing, and the Red Bull South Africa for putting everything together for us. We had so much fun, and that's why you'll see me decked out in a fun match. Like, this Red Bull match is everything. Like, I love it. It's so cute. Like, guys, yes. Anyway, let's get into what has brought you here. I don't know. Sprint weekends are always like,
So easy to just...
they make me appreciate. Sprint weekends make me appreciate Formula One, like the staff, the people who work in the different F1 teams, because it's crazy when you think about it, because the sprint format allows for only one practice session. So that means you only have one practice session to get things going. And looking at the grid, there were 2 rookies, like 2 drivers who've not driven around COTA, the Circuit of the Americas, before. That was Franco Colapinto, the Williams driver, and Liam Lawson, who's now driving for VCAB. And that is really like impressive, and they've had like a good run, both drivers. And I love COTA. Do you know why? Because one, the Circuit of the Americas is like I think it's a fan and driver favorite as well, because it's a track that mimics, like, it's drawn inspiration from some of the classic tracks, including Silverstone. It just has everything. It's literally a track that requires an all-round car. Like, it requires you to have good straight line speed, good traction. It's because it has fast speed corners. It's just an all-round, like, your car needs to be on it as well. So anyway, in this episode, we'll also be tackling our Red Bull cheating. What is really happening? Like, what's happening over at Red Bull? Do I think that Lando has it in him to win the World Championship from Max Verstappen? And clinched that title from Max Verstappen? And also, why are we not talking about Charles Leclerc as a championship contender? All these things will be addressed later on in the episode. Now, let's jump right into the order of business. Let's go through. I don't think anything stood out for me in practice apart from, I mean, a few teams, a lot of the top runners had upgrades. That was one of the interesting things. Like McLaren had like an upgrade or something. I don't know if they were running upgrades on both cars. Mercedes had upgrades, but I think they only had upgrades for only one car. And then we'll talk about Mercedes in depth later. Ferrari was on the only. Red Bull also had a number of upgrades. Alpine as well. Like a lot of the other teams did have. Ferrari, surprisingly sad, we're serving with whatever we went on a break with. Like we are no longer in the business of bringing new upgrades. And you know what? I respect that, because the last time you came out, you came guns blazing. The last time Ferrari came with upgrades, were like they were like, we are ready, we are on, and then they absolutely under-delivered and they disappointed me. But this time, Ferrari, you're in my good books. So without further, I know I keep on saying further ado, but now and then I have so much ado, right? But now I have no further ado. Let's get into it. Sprint qualifying, the sprint shootout as they call it. Very short. It's very short. I don't even understand how these people are able to pull off like 8 minutes, one qualifying session. Oh my God, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I really ultimately do respect people who work in F1 and the F1 teams. I feel like they're always doing. And sometimes I'm tempted to cut them some slack when I'm complaining about some things, but I'm like, it's literally the pinnacle of motorsport. Like, it's technology, like, it's crazy when you think about it. So let's see what stood out for me in the sprint shootout. I loved, first of all, like, guys, I'm a Lewis Hamilton. I don't even know if I have to say this again. Like, of course, I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, through and through. So it was really nice to see him on it, like sprint shootout 1, sprint shootout 2, and in the first 2 sessions of the sprint shootout, that's a sprint qualifying essentially, you have to use the medium tire, and then for the last session, which is the SQ3, you use soft tires. So it's actually even more hectic for teams, because when you're switching from one compound of tire from the medium to the soft, I just feel like it's a lot of work for the drivers and the teams. Like, kudos, like, for them to pull off these weekends, they do deserve the big monies that they are paid. So what stood out for me, Lewis Hamilton was on it. I feel like he was like on it. He looked on top of things until SQ3. I don't. So Mercedes always has this habit of, and I'm gonna just juxtaposition. I don't know if that's the right English. I'm gonna just put them side to side about what they did. So in sprint qualifying, they were just sending Lewis so early, and Lewis even asked was like, okay, why are we sent out so early? And being sent out early means just being sent out to set the, like, to go on track when the rest people are still in the garage. You set your time, come back. That's good sometimes to just avoid things like yellow flags to interfere with your running. But now the disadvantage is that you're not at the track at the optimal time, like to take advantage of those optimal conditions to set your fastest lap. So Lewis was like, I mean, are you guys sending me too early? And I think they sent him too early. Mercedes like, please. So Lewis Hamilton ended up qualifying P7 when I thought he had it in him to get pole for that sprint shootout. Yes. I just felt, I don't know, I was just like, do we need to send emails again? Like, Mercedes, like, why are we always going round and round and round about Lewis Hamilton? And I'm like, oh my God, it's just crazy with this team. I do not know, because you sent him early to out early, and then he was like, why are you sending me to out early, so early on? And then they're qualifying for the race. You sent the man so late. I'm like, there's no balance. There's no winning. I don't even know if there's no winning in this team. I don't know. Like, it just always feels like a big middle finger at the fans, and especially Team LH. Like, oh my God, we've been eating so poorly. An unbalanced diet, no nutrition, no consideration for our nutrition needs, nothing. We have been fed nothing. We're literally like a malnutrition, like whatever. Like, I'm really suffering. I'm not eating good as a Team LH. I am suffering, and I cannot wait for this suffering to end. We have 5 more races, and I am so done, because no. People talk about heartbreak, like I understand, like heartbreak is, but I don't think they've experienced Lewis Hamilton driving in Mercedes in 2024. Like there's not, I do not know what compares to just this. I don't even know what I feel. I don't even know what I feel inside about this, like about Formula One. Like I don't even know because they have desensitized me. It's just mass after mass after. That's all you're serving, mass, 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 mass. I'm like, please, servers, a balanced meal, just bare minimum. Just give me carbs, give me protein, and give me a fruit or something. Give me a veggie. Like that's all. Like that's all. Anyway, I'm so happy for Haas, and I feel like I have not been here for so long because there has been so many news. Haas has signed a new contract with Toyota. So after a hiatus, Toyota is back in Formula One as a technical partner for Haas, and I feel like that's very big for them because Haas they don't have like access to like a simulator, and to all those good facilities that a lot of the other teams have. Remember Haas is still one of the smallest team on. Not one of the small, it's the smallest team on the F1 grid, and actually I know they're always going through some things, but I feel like they have survived for so long, and I mean, of course, they all want to be effective and efficient as well. So signing Toyota, who has the Toyota brand has like all the hardware to help them build a simulator nearer their home, because for now Haas also has a contract with Ferrari. Ferrari supplies their gearbox and power unit, and then they have this other company called Dallara that makes the chassis for Haas. So this partnership with Toyota, they will stop having to go to Maranello to use the simulator there. And sometimes during the season, of course, Ferrari won't just open the doors for Haas mid-season. So of course they have like limited access to the simulator and all those facilities. So, and them bringing Toyota on board, I feel like that's a win-win for them. I'm so happy for them. And on that note, I feel like they qualified P6, P8. Like that is big for Haas in the sprint shootout. I was like, okay, all right, okay. Let's talk about George Russell. George Russell put a banker of a lap. I know he went early because Mercedes, as I've just said, they were just sending them out early. Like, go finish your business, then come back. They don't want pressure. They're like, go. And I don't know where George Russell, I know I give George Russell a lot of crap sometimes, but like that lap was like banger. Like that was a banging lap that only one Max Verstappen could beat. Max Verstappen almost seemed unstoppable. Like he was back. Remember, Max Verstappen has just been losing points to Lando Norris in the championship since we came back from the summer break. Like from the Netherlands, when we were racing at the Dutch Grand Prix, he's just been losing points. He's just hemorrhaging points. It'd be like Lando is eating into his lead. Oh, at the sprint race, he said, watch me, not on my watch. So I was like, okay, impressive. The other shocking news from that sprint shootout was Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri was P16. I was like, oh my God, my suffering. I was not eating well. I was just suffering, truly, because of track limits and things like that. So I don't know. Like those are my my biggest takeaway. And Colapinto, please, Colapinto P10 Albon's span had a span, and I've seen that video on Twitter, and I think it's cost like someone said like it's so hot how he span, and I'm like, oh. Okay, like sometimes it's so hard to defend some takes, and I'm like, okay, interesting, it's fine, I'll move on. So P18 for Albon, P10 for Colapinto. I mean, Colapinto, if I was James Valt, I don't even know. Like, I've actually, like, this is a statement I've said before. I've said, I think right now we just have so much good talent in the F1 grid. Like, there's no time to slack. There's no time for oh my God, let me get my footing. No. Kids are coming in. The rookies, they're rolling the game. Because look at Franco Colapinto. Like, this was his first time driving in Kota, and he's like qualifying his teammate, and he's lining up P10. I'm like, okay, perfect, good. Oh my, they're clearing the competition. I am so here for it's the year of the rookies. Please, it's the year of the rookies, and they're representing like Oli Behrman, Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto. They are representing the rookies. It's the year of the rookies. I'm so proud of them. So during the sprint race, interesting. Like, I mean, I feel like there wasn't anything interesting apart from the Ferraris. The girls. One thing about the Ferrari boys, they will fight. One thing about Fred Vassar, and it's interesting, this weekend I just realized the Fred is short form for Frederick. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but Frederick Verstappen. One thing about him, he will let his boys fight. Like, it's bang your wheels. I don't give whatever. Just, I don't know. It just reminded me of this race. Was it last year? It wasn't Monza, it was just another race that they were, so I'm like, oh my god, these people are going to crash each other out. But no. It was like Sainz was actually seemed like the lead Ferrari this for the better part of this weekend. So I was like, that was a highlight for me, the Ferrari fights, and also that Sainz overtake on Lando Norris. Lando was like, I mean, I was so like, I'm willing Lando because I want this. I mean, I want to see this championship go to the wire. But the way things are going, I think this will be a comfortable sweep by Max Verstappen. So Lando locked up, allowing Sainz to get past him, and even Charlotte. And that was on the last lap. I was like, oh my god, you're letting Max best you. Now he's even gaining points on the championship. Lando, get your act together so that we can see you guys fight it out. Like, come on. Anyway, like that was it. Ocon also, like there was good racing at the sprint race, by the way. There was just some good racing. Ocon, I did see a number of overtakes when Alonso and Lawson. I don't know. I feel like Lawson has owned Alonso this weekend. I mean, say what you will say, but I feel like I've said it's the year of the rookies. It's the year of the rookies because Lawson owned Fernandez. Yes. I feel like he was sensational. You know, the thing is, you just done, I don't know, sensational. I love what Liam Lawson was doing. Love it. I'm here for it. But then during the kerfuffle, we had a whole Ocon moment of the through goes Hamilton was not through goes Albert Ocon, sorry. So he went past them. It was like, I think there was this good racing happening. So, and from the sprint race, we saw that Ferrari were really ready. They said we came here and we meant business, and I'm so happy they meant business. It was like a fun short race. Let's go to the yes, that's it, guys. That's it. And now let's go into Grand Prix qualifying. Oh my God. Again, I was having, and you know, like the trick, okay, so this is just an admission. I didn't stay up to watch live qualifying. It was happening at 1 a.m. here in Nairobi, in Kenya. That was crazy. I wasn't going to stay up. So I woke up in the morning and watched qualifying because I wanted to know. But of course, I already had checked. I was like, Lando is on pole. How did you guys turn this around? Like, you didn't look like you're a favorite for pole. I was like, after seeing the way sprint went and like a bit of practice, I was like, this has to be like a Max Verstappen, pole or something, or a Ferrari pole. But Lando was on pole. What else impressed me? Nothing. I mean, I just want to point out, as I've said, we're not hitting well as a Lewis Hamilton fan. Lewis was kicked out in Q1. Guys, we're going through so much. I'm telling you, I just want to be done with this like last period of Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. I just want to be done. I don't care. Like I don't even know what to feel anymore. So Lewis was out of Q1. Like that was crazy. And then but I feel like Verstappen was also on it. Lando Norris's pole lap that gave him the pole position was actually set during the first run. So the other Max Verstappen, and I know Lando didn't get to do the second runs because George Russell found the barriers. I think, was it turn 19 or something? Turn 19? I have the track here. Is that turn 19? Yeah, it's turn 19, I guess. Or is it turn 9? Is 9 a turn? I don't know. Either turn 19 or 9. I don't know which one. And it's the same place that Lewis crashed out in the race. Like, it's crazy how Mercedes just keep on. I don't know. Like, guys, you have an operational gap. Like, why are you not learning from your mistakes? Like, that's crazy. You have literally the marking scheme and you don't want to use it. I don't understand. So K-Mag also made it into Q3 for Haas, and he was running upgrades on his car, and those upgrades were just put right before qualifying. Like, that's crazy when you think about it. He's not tested these upgrades, he just went into them and actually made Q3. Gasly as well for Alpine. Gasly is the only Ocon is not running the upgrades. Alpine on his Alpine car, Gasly was running the upgrades. Russell crashed and he had some elements of his car replaced, and he had to start on the pit lane, so that means he lost his position as well. So I don't want to. People have been saying, "Oh my God, Max Verstappen would have gotten this pole," but then I'm like, could have, should have. Like, the lap was not completed. Let's talk about facts. So that was qualifying. I don't think there was anything. I mean, if there was anything else, maybe I've forgotten. And please, maybe you remind me. Tell me in the comments if there's anything. What stood out for you in qualifying? So before we go into the race, I know I've mentioned like I really wanted to talk about like the Red Bull issue coming into this weekend. It's been like it's in the talk of the whatever. It's taken time to just simmer down, and I want to talk about it. Is Red Bull cheating? So there has been like a concern apparently that Red Bull could adjust their ride height. Basically, they could adjust the height of their car like from the ground, and that what that does. Why is this thing significant? Is that if you alter the height of your car, that means the lower it goes, like the more grip you can get and more like downforce. So that means you eat into the track, and that means you get like better. You become faster essentially. So is this a new thing? No, teams can adjust the height of their car, like the ride height. So remember, so they can adjust. The whole controversy is about the bib. It's called the bib clearance or something. So the bib essentially is just like the middle part of the floor that can be like you can adjust or whatever. I think teams can do that because of course you don't want to like all teams have a mechanism of adjusting the ride height of the car. That's allowed. Red Bull has another mechanism. Like there are two ways of adjusting. So Red Bull has another way that other teams don't employ. Like they don't use that mechanism that Red Bull specifically uses. Is this secret knowledge? No. Is the FIA aware about this second mechanism that Red Bull runs? Absolutely. They even have it on the FIA has like an open source list for things that other teams are like. That's how technology works in Formula One. Like you share like an open source list where you can go see, oh, this is what people are working on. We can try to employ that into our car or like into our development or technology as well. So that is how things run. So but then now the problem is there's something called parc fermé. So that means when cars, especially after qualifying, you cannot change anything on the car before the race. You cannot change, and including the ride height, like the height of the car, the floor, like how far it is from the ground. You cannot change things like those after qualifying, like when you're in those like parc fermé conditions. So apparently now, of course, I think it's McLaren who brought the issue to the FIA about regarding that issue with Red Bull. Personally, do I think they're cheating? Absolutely. I feel like this is not something that the FIA, this is absolute, this is something they would not miss out on. Like you're adjusting the height of the car, and I'm like, this is something I feel like the FIA would have pointed out. So anyway, Zach Brown wants all the mechanics who've been involved in that car to swear an affidavit that they have never adjusted the car when they're not supposed to adjust the ride height to take advantage of things like that. And I'm like, okay, sure, you're doing the most. I just know this is just real F1 is back. I personally don't think they're cheating, and that's after extensive research. After letting the whole sensationalism, when people are saying, oh, some people are cheating. Of course, I know, can we trust the FIA? No, they've not been they've not been the most consistent people in applying rules to people. But I will say this, this is how development works. And that's how, literally Formula One is a pinnacle of motorsport. And I will use this one example. I think I just shared it on my story as well. So I said, Red Bull always, Red Bull for the longest time, during the 2022, 2023 season, they were operating on such a high level on all their departments. They were firing from all cylinders. Their strategy was good. And, there was no one who knew the rules inside and out like Red Bull. They were reading us with filth. They knew about all regulations. And I will give a proper example, Suzuka last year in Japan, 2023. You remember, guys, Checo Perez had a roller coaster of a race. He retired from the race. And then he had a penalty. He was given a penalty after he was retired. And then he had to carry over that penalty to the next race. But Red Bull were like, no. They made Checo, retired him. And then he went and served his penalty and then retired him again. That's crazy. And nothing was done from that event. The FIA did not investigate. Nothing was done from that. And that was just them trying to operate if the loopholes exist in Formula One, I don't know, last year with Checo, were they breaking the rules? I don't think so. They were just like them. They found rules that you can interpret them in a different way, and I don't think they want to penalize. Now that's for the FIA to seal those, like seal those loopholes. Like now you're not. It's like you don't know your work. You don't know your rules. Like seal them or something. And that's the same with this one. Like now there was never like a thing to show that you cannot, like for example with that mechanism I'm saying, there was never like a seal to show that you cannot adjust that thing. So now FIA will have said they'll clamp down on those issues and like ensure that there is like proof that you cannot alter the ride height of the car. I just still don't think they were cheating, but then I'll just let things play out the way they will. Because when you think about it, like if you're clamping down on technology, like advancement, when people have they're trying to advance, have different ways of doing things, like F1 has been built on some daring people. Like, for example, like, you know, I'm even actually thinking by the time someone was like saying, let's stop running this front engined cars, like, let's put the engine at the back. Like, I'm so sure that people were like, no. Or like the aerodynamics aspects of a Formula One. I'm so sure like Lotus, their team, the team that engineered a lot of the developments of aerodynamics in Formula One. I mean, one of their cars was banned. That is back, like when you look at the history of Formula One. So I mean, I'm just like, get with the program. I mean, of course, don't break the rules. I'm not here to advocate for cheating, but get with the program, develop things, and if you can't, learn from people who are developing things. Anyway, we'll just wait to see how that plays out. That's my verdict. Like, I don't think they're cheating, and if they are, oh my. So how can you undo? Like, I'm so sure this is not like a mechanism or like a process they've just had for this season. They've had it for several seasons. So what are we gonna do? Disqualify them for all the seasons? And I don't even know. Like, I don't know what will happen, but I just don't think they've been cheating. That's my take. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm making sense? Please, yes, tell me yes, but tell me in the comments as well. So now let's go into the race. I'm such a frustrated girl. When I tell you again, I am not eating. I am not eating at all. It's bad. It's very bad for me. Lewis Hamilton, early retirement. Oh my god! And you know the thing is the most messed up thing is that he went off where George Russell went off yesterday. So it was just a matter. And the other thing that is actually like mind-boggling is that Lewis was not happy with the car. He was not happy with the suspension, the setup of the car, and he insisted to his engineers, like, can we change this? Like, I'd rather even he start at the pit lane. I mean, he was already starting so way back, and I'm like, why won't they allow this man to do whatever? Like, this is the second. Sorry, 1 second. Instead, Lewis the other weekend in Singapore was like, okay, I asked for this to happen. It's when they put him on that. They put him on soft at the start of the race, and I'm like, why? Why are you doing this I feel like Mercedes are so, this is not even a joke, it's so pitiable, it is so heartbreaking, and it's not looking good for them to want to end this iconic partnership with Lewis Hamilton the way that they are doing it. I feel like this is the worst way they can go out. And the thing is, they cannot spoil Lewis Hamilton's legacy. That's the thing. I think they hold so much power that they won't, and I don't think they can. And the legacy of this man is not, it's not permanently fixed on Mercedes. This is a driver, I have said it so many times, who means so much to some of us. It goes beyond racing. This is someone who's shown us that with perseverance, resilience, and hard work, and putting in the work and believing in yourself and working every day and building on, just being positive, knowing that, there's a next time to try and do things better. That's the way to live life. Like, it's almost philosophical for us. Like, Lewis Hamilton is more than a driver to most of his fans. And it's such a wrong way for, like, and if it's intentional, the way they want to end his stint at Mercedes, the way that things are looking, I am so heartbroken and I'm so disappointed. Like, this is the worst way they could do it. Enough said. Brilliant recovery drive from George Russell. George Russell started at the pit lane and finished P6. You know what? Props to you, George. You did amazing. But that whole other drama on the other side of the garage, please, Like you have 5 more races. Treat him nicely. Like you don't even. But anyway, guys, Ferrari back on top. Ferrari back on top. Charles Leclerc P1. I'm so happy because my future team is doing so well. Like I'm happy. I know next year, but this is Ferrari. I cannot afford to just be excited. Anyway, I'm so happy for Ferrari. Ferrari 1-2. 1-2 in the US for the first time since 2006, like back in their Schumacher era. Like, Ferrari, come on. Frederic Vassar, you're doing amazing. And I'm so happy. And Ferrari didn't even have upgrades. They're still running like their Singapore spec car. Like, what a wow. So that was just a dominant drive by Charles Leclerc. And like he was so sensational at the start, overtaking his teammate and Max and Lando and all those people. Like that was amazing. That was great, amazing. I enjoyed that race I just enjoyed him winning. And saying great effort. I mean, Ferrari today, you pit stop, chef's kiss. Strategy, chef's kiss. Like you ate. You really other girl, like Ferrari, come on, and they undercut Max Verstappen. I don't even think the Red Bull thought they were fighting with the Ferrari. Like I feel like everybody thought like Ferrari was out of their range. They're just running a show of their own. So they undercut Max Verstappen by pitting Carlos Sainz earlier. So slay of them. A 1-2 for them. So happy for them. I mean, what a way to come back. I want to talk about Lando and Max. Oh my God, those last laps, like 10, 15 before, I mean, is it from like almost 20 laps when Lando was so behind Max. Max didn't, I don't think he was having the best day as well on track. So Lando ended up getting a 5th-place grid penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. And I want to talk about that. Like, this weekend has this, I mean, of course, it's like, it's the US Grand Prix, so of course track limits are there. People's times have been deleted. People have been given penalties for either leaving the track and getting advantage, or like or pushing what is it called? Forcing a driver off the track. Like you're not leaving them enough space, so you push them off the track where all the 4 wheels are off the track. Really, the road that has been is classified as the track. And I want to talk about it because I don't know, like, it looked like it could go either way. Lando could argue it from a point of saying, I was forced off track. And Max could say, no, he left the track and overtook me. And that's like gaining an unfair advantage. So he needs to be penalized for it. And I saw something interesting. And this is like, I think this is a whole ongoing debate. I'm not like a technician. Like I have not driven a Formula One car. But I do read a lot. So, and this is what I think. So someone was saying, Max, one thing about Max, you cannot go on the outside of Max. Like if you know Max, you will never go on the outside of Max and overtake him. You cannot, because he will, oh my God, he will go with you. He will force you outside. So, and now the problem is, now I think the argument is like what the line between saying it's either you were not left enough space, so penalizing the driver who's on the inside for forcing the driver who went off the track, and penalizing the driver who's on the outside for going off the track and getting ahead of the driver who's on the inside. And I've seen like this tactic. This is it's a Max. In fact, it's even regarded as a Max specialty. The way you launch, so in the sense that when you're going to a corner, like you outbrake yourself. That means like braking as late as you can to take a corner well. But with Max, I just feel like he lunges into a corner so that you're effectively ahead. And when you're ahead at a corner, that's your corner. Like that's when it becomes like if someone now overtakes you, you're like, no, you went off track and gain an advantage. There's all those arguments. Personally, I spent the last couple of the last stint of that race just on my feet. I'm like wheeling Lando because I want this championship to go down the wire. Like I'm excited for it. I'm just like, Lando, come on. But then I'm like, you keep pulling the same move on Max Verstappen back, getting ahead of Max Verstappen, like overtaking Max is I know it's hard. It's not like, oh, it's not a walk in the, it's not even a walk in the park. It's just even an easy comparison to how difficult it is to get past Max Verstappen. The other thing that shocked me was McLaren telling Lando that he was ahead. He was not ahead of Max Verstappen. Max was ahead. Like, he was clearly like ahead of that Apex. Like, Lando didn't get ahead. So I'm thinking, could they have just let Lando give back that position, and then Lando could try to overtake Max? I personally think Lando, like, I don't know, I felt like, me personally, I was willing him to overtake Max a bit earlier. Like, I feel like he had opportunity. And I know he's always so hard on himself, but he was also, I feel like today they didn't even take each other out. So I know Lando is always so hard on himself, and I don't know. I mean, and I'm tempted to extend some grace to him as well, because I mean, this is the first year. I mean, this is even the year he's gotten his first win. Like, come on, and trying. I'm so proud of Lando. I mean, I might not be happy with agree with everything he says or his personality sometimes, but on track, I feel like I am so proud of him and everything that he's trying to do. And I think that's all. Like, that's the whole argument. I don't know, like, but the FIA hasn't been very consistent in applying these penalties. Oscar Piastri was arguing like he was penalized for being on the inside, for forcing, who was it? For posting. Yeah, so Oscar Piastri was also penalized yesterday for forcing a driver off the track. And I think, I don't know how they have been very concerned in applying these penalties, because even George today, and even Toto has come out to just protest, and George was like, oh, what? Like, it was such a what? Like, I can't even say what he said on the team radios today were hilarious. So yeah, George Russell was like, again, penalized for forcing Bottas off the track. That was weird. Even Yuki was actually also penalized for forcing Albon off the track. I mean, that looked fair game. Pierre Gasly was also penalized for leaving the track and gaining an advantage on Albon. So I don't know if there's been consistency in applying, like, in knowing when to penalize the driver who's on the outside and penalizing the driver who's on the inside, like on that when taking the corner. So I don't know. Today's the team radio during the race were like interesting. Very, very interesting. There was one, I don't know what was happening with Kevin Magnussen, and I think that is what dropped him out of the point. It's like, you must stop, you must box. I don't know what was happening. I really didn't even find out what was happening. Even Sainz had issues before on the first stint. I think there was some issues with the smell on his car, and then the engineers, that was the most hilarious things. Then they're telling him, oh, do face one, do what? And then Sainz on the radio is like, okay, I don't even know what the fuck that is. And you know what? Fair enough. I don't know. Like, what? It's nice to just know that, I don't know. It's just crazy. Yeah. So, I don't know if anyone else like stood out for me. I just want to go quickly through the results about the results of the race. So that's P1 for Charles Leclerc. I loved it. Lando Norris, I feel like he could have done better. P5, I think that's what Oscar Piastri would have done. I've said good job to Russell. Perez in P7 as well, not bad. Nico Hülkenberg doing very good things for Haas. And Liam Lawson. Oh my god, I forgot to talk about my rookies. The rookies are having a good year. So points for both Liam Lawson with B Cup and Franco Colapinto. My dearest Yuki. Yuki, I don't know what happened to Yuki. Yuki, where did he finish? I think P40 or something. Yuki, I felt like because Liam Lawson had like he was also starting at the back of the grid as well. So he went long and then he stayed out for so long and then pitted later and came out ahead of Yuki, and Yuki was like, oh my god, how did this happen? I want an explanation. I just need Yuki to just chill. I don't know. Today I'm not the happiest Yuki fan, but it's fine. You know, it's really, really fine. And that's it from me. I want to talk about, I always love this segment. So we say, here's my B of the weekend. My honey, my B, and the sting. So my B, the highlight of this whole weekend, the Ferrari wins, because I'm happy for them and I'm so happy for my future team. You will love to see me coming. Yes. My sting of the weekend, Lewis Hamilton. Oh my god, I feel like he's just stop, make it stop. My honey, like the sweetest thing, and it's, I don't even know if it's sweet, but I just like the way Liam Lawson was like heads on whatever with Alonso. I feel like that was not the sweetest, but I'm just so happy to see that. Like, you're not, like, he's just standing up to it was like, it's the duel of youth and experience. So I love to see that. And I guess that's it from me, guys. I hope I talked about everything I said we'll talk about. Yes, so that's all for me. It's another race week again. Happy race week. We're racing in Mexico. I want to say hola chicas and hola chicas y chicos. I'll see you in Mexico. We're racing in Mexico again. And I can't wait to see what drama theatrics they come up with. Yes. Tell me what you liked about this whole US Grand Prix and what was your standout moment. That's it from me. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the Will Spin Podcast. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember to rate us wherever you're listening to your podcast from. That's it from me. Bye.